3.
The Walhalla 6th grade proudly presents The Grinch Who Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss.
Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not.
The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one knows quite the reason.
It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right.
It could be perhaps his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small.
But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's.
Staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below under town. Though he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow's Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew.
All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then...
Oh, the noise, 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 noise.
That's one thing he hated.
The noise. Noise.
Noise.
Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast.
And they'd feast.
And they'd feast.
Feast.
They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef.
Which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least.
And then they do something he liked least of all.
Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand.
And the Who's would start singing.
They sing and they sing.
And they'd sing.
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 The more the Grinch thought of his Who Christmas sing,
The more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with this now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
then he got an idea.
An awful idea.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
the Grinch laughed in his throat.
And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat.
And he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick. With his coat and his hat, I look just like St. Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found.
Did that stop the old Grinch?
No!
The Grinch simply said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max.
Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head
Then he loaded some bags
and some old empty sacks.
on a ramshackle sleigh.
And he hitched up old Max.
then the Grinch said,
Giddy up!
And the sleigh started down towards the home where the Who's lay snooze in the town. All their windows were dark like snow filled the air.
All the Who's were dreaming sweet dreams without care.
When he came to the first little house on the square,
This is stop number 1.
the old Grinchy Claus hissed.
And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fists.
then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it,
And so could the Grinch.
He got stuck only once for a moment or two.
Then he stuck out his head of the fireplace flue where the little Who stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings
He grinned.
are the first things to go.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant.
Around the whole room he took every present, pop guns,
and bicycles, roller skates,
Drums,
checkerboard, tricycles,
popcorn,
And plums.
And he stuffed them in bags.
Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney.
then he slunk into the icebox.
He took the Who's feast.
He took the Who's pudding.
He took the roast beast.
He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash.
Hey, that Grinch even took last can of goulash.
Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
grinned the Grinch.
I'll stuff up the tree.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove.
When he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove.
He turned around fast and he saw a small Who.
Yoo-hoo.
Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water.
She stared at the Grinch and said,
Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
but you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie.
He found out quick.
Why, my sweet little tot?
The fake Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there. Then I'll bring it back here.
His Pip fooled the child.
Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and sent her to bed.
And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire.
And he went up the chimney himself to Old Lie. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire.
And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb was even too small for a mouse.
Then he did the same thing to the other whose houses,
Leaving crumbs much too small for the other whose mouses.
It was 1/4 dawn.
All the who's still abed.
All the who's still snooze.
And when he packed up his sled,
Packed it up with their presents.
The ribbons.
the wrappings,
The tags.
and the tinsel,
He had
trappings,
3,000 feet up, upside of Mount Crumpet.
He rode with his load to the tip top to dump it.
Pooh-pooh to the who's.
He was grinchishly humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's the noise
Grinned the Grinch.
that I simply must hear.
Count you in 1, 2, 3.
So he paused. So the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did. Hear a sound raising over the snow.
It started in low, and it started to grow.
But the sound wasn't sad.
why the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so.
But it was very merry.
He started down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes.
Then he shut. What he saw was a shocking surprise.
every who in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing.
Without any presents at all.
He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming, it came.
Somehow or other, it came just the same.
And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow.
Stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons, came without tags. It came without packages or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore.
And then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought.
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more.
And what happened then?
Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light,
And he brought back the toys.
and the food for the feast.
And he
He himself. The Grinch carved the roast feast.